The following program is rated PG. Parental guidance is advised, as the theme or content may not be suitable for all children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome to Time Family of Wines here in downtown Penticton. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Will people meet you when they come here?
Sometimes if I'm here. If I'm down here, my office is upstairs. I'm McKay Hall. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager for Time Family of Wines. And we're sitting in Orolo Restaurant and Cocktail Bar on site at the winery. And behind us, we have our Kronos tasting room. So we are on site all the time. It just depends on what time of day.
So there aren't a lot of urban wineries, are there, that are in an urban area? I know in Kelowna, I guess we have Sandhill.
Yeah.
Is this the only one that exists in Penticton, or are there
It's
other?
the only one in the South Okanagan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people are staying here in town or at the resort or something, this is a really good winery experience that's super close.
Yep.
Yeah.
We really lean into that because when you think about it, when you do go wine tasting around the valley, a lot of them are a little bit more remote and rural or out in vineyards, right? Which we, being the only one downtown, it's walking distance, cabbing distance, driving distance, etc. And we pride ourselves on being sort of a one-stop shop. So having the restaurant, having the tasting room, having barrel experiences and sabering that happen in our cellar, and then of course all the winemaking that happens right here. So there's a lot going on in this one little building.
So you are doing like the full making of the wine? Are you doing the press here as well?
Everything, yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, everything.
It seems like you have a lot more distance between your customer experience and the press than a lot of wineries have. I think that would be amazing. Because places where I've worked, it's been, a lot of times we're overwhelmed by fruit flies.
Oh yeah,
During
they
during
happen,
crush.
they happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but do they even make their way into this
They
space?
do a little bit, yeah.
Oh,
I do
gosh.
remember last summer there was a little bit, not in a crazy way, not in like a health risk way,
Yeah.
but yeah, we are lucky because behind us, sort of the bar, and then the whole winery space, like we do have our crush pad here. Our production is not huge. We're still considered a small winery, but it's neat because the polish of this space, the polish of the restaurant, as opposed to the crush, the actual winemaking process. But I will say, Lindsay Schatz, who is our winemaker, is meticulous. Like, she is the cleanest person alive. So even during crush, like that crush pad, the floor is
Oh wow, not sticky.
spotless. No.
That's amazing, because I've walked through a lot of floors. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, Lindsay would have none of that. She's
Oh, I
very
love her.
meticulous. Yeah, she's great. She's really great.
Yeah, well, that'll show the meticulousness in small areas. Really does translate to meticulousness in the big things that people end up experiencing. And you have a lot of different tiers of wine. Are they sort of, in your mind, do you categorize them as quality tiers, price level tiers, or just different focuses in each one? How does it
I would
work?
say both, sort of the latter two. So quality-wise, quality is sort of one of our main pillars. Quality is a big, big thing for us. We actually have a system called Barrel-Wise that we use in the cellar through the winemaking process. It allows us to test for sulfur, allows us to keep a closer eye on the wine, but in a very quick, I mean, it's all digitized, it's all computerized. So it's not like in the days of old when you would go into the cellar and they'd be climbing all around and having to take the bung out and go and topping. So they do that. It's all connected to barrel wise. So that in itself is sort of the highest quality.
That's amazing.
It is really, really cool. And the testing is a matter of seconds. So to check and see if that barrel, how the health of the barrel is.
Does that do the chemistry as well? Oh, wow.
It does everything, the whole read. Yeah, it's really, really neat.
Okay.
So that's something that's a staple across all of our wines. But then the price and sort of like the focus of each of the brands within the Time family. So sort of your entry level right now, it's really interesting because Evolve cellars are Effervescence, white and pink. Those would be like your entry level. We have a couple still wines. We move into Kronos and then the McWaters collection. But we're changing a little bit with Evolve because we actually have a space opening up on the Penticton side of the bench this year.
Really?
Yeah, TBD when it actually opens because construction.
Of course.
Yeah.
Are you going to have your tasting room out there as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and retail space?
Tasting room, retail space. The focus there will be on sparkling wine. So it goes back to your original question about sort of like price and style of wine and whatnot. So Kronos we look at as, it's a little bit richer, a little bit more luxurious. We make several different red wines, and I think that that's sort of where that will go, more in the red wine space. Even though there are some whites right now, there's a Semillon, Chardonnay, Pinot Gris. It's just like the brand itself, sort of the brand DNA lends itself more to that red wine space. Evolve will definitely be sparkling. So we do a lot of sparkling now. Lindsay makes a lot of sparkling wine. And then up the hill we'll have some more premium sparkling wine. We'll sort of change it up a little bit. It'll be a different Evolve from what people see today on the shelf.
Oh, wow. It's evolving.
It is evolving. I know you can't get away from the pun.
I know. I'm sorry, I had to do it. It's a magnet.
I know. Yes, it is.
So are people still going to be able to find Evolve here and there?
Yeah.
So both places?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm vacationing in Penticton and I don't want to rent a car and go up there, I can still come here.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Or you could walk. It's a 3-minute drive. So it would take you like 20 minutes to walk up there, I guess.
Oh, and there's a rail trail, right?
You could go on the Kettle Valley Trail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's another thing is that people will take their bikes, right? Walk, run, take your bike.
Oh. Wow.
There's a couple places up off the trail now that people do that. So we'll be the first winery that you hit on the bench. So the goal will be that people are sort of coming back and forth. If people want to do tasting here, typically speaking, we're sampling Kronos and McWaters collection in the tasting room, though we do have all of the SKUs. So if somebody wanted to purchase or they wanted to have a glass of Evolve Effervescence here, then that's available to them too. So trying to be not all things to all people, but really just show off the different facets of winemaking and the different things that Lindsay can do because she's very talented in a lot of different ways.
So what's the difference between your Kronos line and the McWaters?
So the McWaters would be a little step up from Kronos as well. So the McWaters collection would be a little bit of a nod to Harry McWaters, or the founder of Time Family of Wines, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. We only have 4 SKUs in the McWaters collection now. Meritage, a white Meritage, a traditional method Brut, and our Chardonnay, which we will be sampling and is my absolute favorite wine that we have in the portfolio.
I hear that you're a Chardonnay fan.
I really am. Yeah.
And we have 2 of them that we're going to be trying, right?
We do, and they're quite different. So.
Oh, that's amazing. I think people just have Chardonnay stuck in their head in a certain way.
Yes.
Maybe the first time they tried it, it was maybe fermented in concrete or something, and then finished in stainless steel, and it's this flinty, lovely, fresh Chardonnay. Maybe it was barrel aged for a long time. It's got all that roundness and buttery notes. And whatever they try first, I think is like stuck in their head.
That's the one.
This is what Chardonnay is.
Yeah.
And so I love this or I don't love this. But it's so flexible.
Oh, it's such a diverse grape. Honestly, it's I almost take it personally when people say they hate Chardonnay.
I know.
Right? Because there isn't one kind, and I think that in the 80s and 90s, the wine industry, I'm not going to say what state or what style, but
you've heard me rant about.
They really did us a disservice, and Chardonnay was just being pumped out the same way. Yes. It was oaky, buttery, big. And so that's what a lot of people think that Chardonnay is, and that it can be offensive if it has too much oak. It's not a well-made wine. It's overly made.
Yep.
And then people have that, and they go, "Oh, I do not do Chardonnay." Same can be said for Merlot. I think that there is some Merlots that people are very, very against. But I think that what we do in the Valley here, I mean, it's so diverse, the styles of wine that you see coming out of the Okanagan, right?
Absolutely. Depends where you are.
Yeah,
Where's the land that it's grown on? If it's there on the bench, Naramata bench, where you guys are going to be, it's going to be really different than Oliver.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's and we source a lot of Chardonnay because we do make a lot of sparkling wine, right? So Chardonnay is a really, really diverse grape that can be used for a lot of different things. So I would like people to relax into the style, relax into the varietal, and just maybe explore a little bit more than just saying, I don't like it straight up.
Right, right. So when you come here, just calm the heck down.
Yeah, calm down.
Try the Chardonnay.
Totally.
And there's why not try things? That's what I always think. When I'd be serving at a winery, I was like, oh, well, this is a great opportunity to try something you've never tried before too. Or if you've always thought you didn't like it because you can't pronounce it, let's give it a shot. Like Gewürztraminer isn't always super sweet. Imagine that. And you might find your new favorite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, isn't it fun when somebody just lights up? It's like, I had no idea I would love this.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love doing tastings, and I love, I don't find very often that we do tastings that people are asking for a specific varietal or a specific style of wine. People are pretty trusting, which is nice. Then you can tell them the story and explain where it came from, what we did to it, and that sort of thing. And that's the excitement for me. The other cool thing in this room, in Orolo, is that we're served flights. So if you do want to come and dine and you want to try 3 different wines, right? It makes sense, and you're doing a little bit of a self-led tasting, but you can pair it with the food.
Yeah, and self-pairing as well, because people's palates are so different from each other. What I think is a perfect pairing might technically be perfect, but somebody else's palate is different. And they're like, oh, but I like this one better, and they're right. For them, that's the right one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun that you have a pairing that you could try with food as well.
Yeah.
And we can take the theory home with us. You know, this is really tannic. It was amazing with a heavy protein. So that's the theory part, and you can take that and apply it in your home when you're having your family over for dinner. And I love that about, a good winery. You can come away with tips for how you're going to live now.
Yeah. And I mean, for Wine Club, because we do have a wine club that is actually shipping right now. I think that one of the things that people get frustrated when they go to a winery or a restaurant and they've tried a bunch of different things, and then they go home and they've bought this bottle that they really loved in the restaurant, and they don't know what to do with it. And if they just were led a little bit more and leaned into those flavors and the pairing, then it would be a more enjoyable experience. I mean, any wine can be drank on its own, obviously, but it is really fun to explore. It just like enriches that experience, right? If it's paired with food.
Yeah, I feel like a good pairing is like a good relationship. It brings out the best in both elements rather than one of them dominates the other, or they both just really suck now.
Yeah.
Like we all have friends who have ended up in that relationship. It's like, oh, you used to be awesome, but now you really suck. And it's because of that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, get away, and now you're awesome again.
That's too funny. On Valentine's Day too.
I know. How to suck on Valentine's Day. Find the wrong person.
There's a lot of them out there.
Stay as long as possible.
Oh my gosh. Too funny.
So we're going to kind of play around with doing a little tasting, right?
Yep.
And you have some stuff.
I do. So I have 4 wines that I've pulled out here. So we're going to start with our sparkling. We have the glassware set up, our sparkling glass, and then I think we're going to go into our Kronos Chardonnay. We'll go into my favorite, the McWatters Collection Chardonnay, and then we'll end up with the Kronos Cabernet Franc.
Amazing.
Do a little pairing.
And I did ask you to leave cork in one, and the sparkling is completely intact.
Yeah.
Because I know I have friends that they get it and they wait for me to come over to open it.
I know.
So would
It's
you
nerve-wracking.
demonstrate the nerve-wracking and if it goes wrong, it's good because it gives us all permission for stuff to go
Well,
wrong.
it can go terribly wrong.
Okay, so first thing, let's narrate this. There's a little
Okay.
pull tab, and she was able to loosen off the foil.
Take off the foil.
There we go.
And then always, always put your thumb on the cage. We're not, just in case there's a little bit of extra activity happening in there.
Now,
Put your
is
thumb
the
on the cage
goal
as
to
you.
explode this everywhere
No.
and have a big pop?
No pop. We're actually aiming for absolutely zero pop. Very little sound. Very little sound. I know that people like it.
It sounds celebratory.
It does. I mean, you do you. If you're at home and you want to pop it, you're going to
You are
waste some of this
wasting a
beautiful
lot.
liquid. And I know that winemakers do not like it when you do that because they take a lot of time and effort to put those little bubbles into this
Yeah.
bottle. So you
And
don't
these
want to waste
bubbles
them.
are going to be special because this is a traditional
This is
method.
a traditional method,
So
yes.
this fermentation has happened in there.
Yeah.
It gets really, really like fine, moussey bubbles. And in glass, you can withhold a lot more pressure than you could in like a can. If you used to a can of Coke, bubbles, the bubbles are big
Mm-hmm.
and there's not as many. This one would be like rabies.
And this one is a really special bottle too because this is this is wine club only.
Mm.
So this is the Brut Rosé. We produce 2 of these traditional method sparkling wines
Beautiful.
for Evolve, which has not opened yet. So we've kept them as wine club only. So we have a Brut Nature and then a Brut Rosé. So it does have a very fine mousse. It's lightly pink. It's a really, really pretty one. So I'm just gonna rotate the bottle itself, not the cork. Wendy's like jumping out of the way.
I know, I shouldn't be. Oh,
There
that
we
was
go.
hardly any pop and no loss.
No
Just
loss.
a smoky little top.
There you go, like
Yeah.
a gun, right?
Exactly, that's what I always think of. This inner violence.
And then the other thing is when you're pouring the wine, you don't want to pour it on an angle. You don't want to dissipate those bubbles. Like you really want those bubbles to come out of this bottle. That is the special part of sparkling wine is that it is effervescent. You know, it's not like a beer where you tip it over on its side so you dissipate those bubbles. And I worked in beer for 10 years, so I would also argue that you shouldn't be doing that to beer, but you know what, you do you when you're pouring your beer into your glass if you feel like you're gonna be, I don't know,
Yeah, because you're
bloated or something.
Cicerone qualifications as well, right?
I do have some Cicerone training, yeah.
And WSET.
WSET, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So here we are, so we have this like beautiful pink color. Those bubbles have dissipated in the glass. Notice if I did keep pouring it too, you would have a full glass of liquid. It wouldn't be overflowing. We didn't shake the bottle up and it's nice and cold. So whenever you're opening sparkling wine, you want to make sure that it's cold. You want to make sure you're not knocking it around before because that's going to get more activity. And then when you try to take the cork out, it's going to be forced out as opposed to just coming out nicely and having that little bit of, so yeah, what do you think?
I think it's beautiful. Cheers.
Cheers.
And let's talk about how to look like you know what you're doing when you're visiting a winery and somebody pours you a little tasting of something bubbly. Should I shake this up and aerate it like
No.
crazy?
No.
How come?
It's done enough. It's just come out of a sealed vessel. The oxygen has hit it. It is in this glass. It is poured in. The shape of the glass. The shape of the glass is really important for wine. How it enters the glass, how it aerates. With this one, you do want to keep those bubbles nice and tight. So you don't want a really, really big glass. We would never pour it into this because it would dissipate far too quickly. So we're keeping this mouth really, really tight so it can still be active in the glass. If you bring it up to your nose, oh, this is the number one thing. Never, ever, ever, for the love of God, never hold a wine glass like this. Never. Not a thing.
And why is that, other than looking like a caveman?
Because you look like a caveman. It just unnecessarily warms the glass, you get fingerprints all over it, and you look like a caveman. So.
And you can't see the gorgeous bubbles
You
because your
can't.
big fat hand is in the way.
Exactly, exactly. We, when we're looking for images for social media, we have a lot of photography, amazing photography, but every once in a while you're looking for stock images, and the amount of stock images that are of people holding glasses like this, it makes me crazy. Makes me crazy.
Talk.
I can't. So you're holding it by the stem. I mean, I always rest the foot on my hand. I don't know why, I just have this, it feels comfortable. You don't have to do that, you can just hold it by
I
the
would
stem.
not. Yeah.
And then when you bring this one up to your nose, You're gonna get light toast. You're gonna get some rhubarb, stone fruit, lemon, sort of early season strawberry.
Yeah, almost still like green.
Yeah, green tops.
So stone fruit, any specific?
I get more like a nectarine, like a white nectarine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking like a peach maybe that isn't quite, it's not like that sodden ripe
Yeah,
peach.
yeah, not too late in the season. I mean, there's a time and place for those flavors in wine, but I find the ones that I gravitate towards that are like light, bright, really vivacious, have that herbaceous quality to them. It's always the early season fruits. A little bit harder if you had that stone fruit and it was a little bit harder to cut through.
Yeah, it's not going to be like mush. It's
Yeah.
still got, it's al dente.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then, yeah, across the palate, you get that early season strawberry. I still get a bit of that brioche. And it's fresh.
So that brioche taste, that's like a sweet French bun. And that's coming from the lees, right?
Yeah.
So the lees, all the yeast cells that are still in there doing their thing, they die and they sort of go away. They kind of hide. But they also, as they're down there, they're flavoring the wine, and that's why you're getting notes of like honey and like a honey buttered toast or brioche, that sort of thing. It's coming from, and it's very much a characteristic of the traditional method. And
That's
this
my
is
favorite
so
part,
beautiful.
really. That's
Yeah.
my favorite part of traditional method. I mean, if I have a glass of sparkling wine and it doesn't have those notes, that nice toast on it, a little bit of butter, then it's not there for me.
Right.
I really, really enjoy that.
Yeah. No, it kind of makes it special. And the first time you taste it, I think it's kind of surprising. It's like, oh, this tastes like, kind of smells and tastes like a bakery, like when it's really forward.
Yeah.
This is much more berry, rhubarb, light stone fruit, a little bit of strawberry.
Yeah.
I get that.
Very delicate.
Yeah.
Very delicate.
So the different places that you taste a wine, so you're smelling it first, and then on the palate. And sometimes you can differentiate. It takes you on a little bit of a journey. Like right away it's rhubarb, but then, it's a little bit of this. And then at the very end, it always would bother me when people would call it the aftertaste. Because that always seems like a negative word to me.
I think so too.
Like finish seems smoother.
Yes.
It's like, So on the finish, you can still pull different tastes, and also you want to see how long it lasts. So the finish is like, is it gone just like the second you sip it and it's gone? Or is it still with you a few seconds later to maybe even a minute and a half? If it's like super duper, then it stays with you.
And you want that, that nice balance in acid too, so that at the back of your throat you get that salivatory glands going, so that makes you want to go back in for another sip, right? There's nothing that bothers me more than having a wine that's a little flabby, sort of just falls flat, and then I'm like, okay, that's good. I just had the sip, and it actually doesn't make me want to have any more, because there's nothing like enticing my palate to go in for another sip, right? I find that, again, with Lindsay's winemaking style, like she really, really has a less is more approach. So she embraces the style of the fruit, the varietal that she's working with, but really, really leans into the characteristics of that particular fruit in this valley too. So nothing's overdone, but she's an absolute wizard with balance. Everything in the portfolio has amazing balance. So nothing is too acidic, nothing falls flat. It's just that perfect right in between. She hits it on the nose.
Do you find in the tasting room people have an aversion to the word acidity?
It depends. I mean, I think that it's hard, because sometimes when you're talking to somebody about certain notes in the wines and you say lemon, or you talk about citrus.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but when I'm selling wine, I've had people say, well, but I thought wine was made of grapes.
Oh,
Because they think that the fruit, they're taking it literally.
Yes.
and then you know that they're not a wine drinker.
Yeah.
But they're taking, and there is fruit wines, right? But they're
but
thinking that those are additives into the wine. They're not really thinking that that's just a characteristic.
Yeah, I've been asked a lot. How do you get the taste of strawberries into here? Do you kind of make it like a tea?
Yeah.
Like crush some strawberries and put them in a bag?
Yeah, but people
Is
don't
that
know.
where the color comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't. It's all coming off of the grapes and from the process of fermentation. None of it is like added fruit or fruit extracts. Not in this type of wine. I can't speak for how anybody else.
I mean, that's the thing, is that there is fruit wines, right? And some
is.
people that really, really enjoy those. But
I think a dry fruit wine is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just before it gets sort of a vinegary, if it doesn't have any of those faults, it can be really an interesting wine.
Yeah, there are some fun ones out there. And usually lower alcohol too.
Who's in here anyway? What grapes are in here?
That's a good question.
It's like a test.
Chardonnay.
Chardonnay.
A lot of Chardonnay.
Sure. Is there a Merlot?
Usually she's using Syrah, so I'm going to say that the color is coming from the Syrah grape.
Syrah grape.
Yeah.
See,
That's pretty fun.
I definitely can't tell by looking at a wine, like a sparkling or a blend,
No.
because you don't know the percentage and
No, and we use a lot of Chardonnay, predominantly Chardonnay. We use a lot of Ortega in some of our sparkling wine. And then as far as the color, I mean, we have used Pinot Noir, we have used, what do we have in there? Some Pinot Blanc. But Chardonnay, that's the big one.
There's not a lot of Ortega grown in the valley, is there?
No.
Yeah.
No. And we had a heck of a time sourcing it.
Yeah, I bet.
This is a bad season, so.
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about bad seasons.
Yeah, I know. I can't really comment on
We're
that.
all way too scared of everything right now. All right. So what do you have next?
Okay, let's go into the Kronos Chardonnay. This one is stainless.
Okay. And this one's the screw top.
It is.
Yeah.
I know, I'm sort of on the fence about the screw tops, the Stelvins, compared to cork. I mean, I don't mind either. I remember at the very beginning of my career in wine, and the Stelvin enclosure were just starting to be used, and in a lot of the import wines. So I had some Chile, Argentina, some California and whatnot, they were all the screw tops. And we would joke around about how there's like sexy ways to open it, like you loosen the top and you roll it down your arm, you end up with the calf in your hand, and this, my party trick. But really, I mean, there isn't a lot of cork in the world anymore. People are looking at ways of just switching it up. And I think that now it's fully embraced.
Yeah.
Cork, screw top, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't actually designate how expensive the wine would be as. So people thought that it was cheap.
Right, yeah. No, I've tried some really, really beautiful, lovely, expensive wines that are screw top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a mental thing that we all had to get over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard. I remember selling wine to restaurants, and they didn't want to do tableside service with screw top.
Oh, yeah. Because, well, some of it is the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And you're missing part of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people want to feel the cork.
But if you roll it down your arm.
I feel like I want to do it right now. I'm going to show you.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Definitely.
Let's see.
Can you still do it?
I don't know. Okay, so it has to be open a bit. And then I'll be like, ma'am. And then I'd roll it down your arm.
Oh, my goodness. That's the show.
Can you imagine if a server in a restaurant that was like, oh, here you go, madame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be pretty funny. Now everyone's going to try that.
Yeah, exactly. Try this at home. Impress your friends. We used to hold the top and then twist the bottom.
Yep.
I felt like kind of like breaking a chicken's neck.
Fancier, crack. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, oh, how'd you do that? Well, it's the same as this except backwards.
Yeah.
It's twisting your wrist, folks. It's really fun.
I think it's the same as opening or taking the cork out of a bottle of sparkling, because a lot of people turn the cork.
Oh yeah.
Right? But
that makes
really
me nervous.
You should be holding it tight and then turning the bottle, right?
And putting some counter pressure on that. So yeah, because it's pushing up. What is the pounds per inch? It's huge. I can't remember the number.
Yeah.
I remember it being an exam question.
Oh yes.
Yeah. What is the
remember
average
this.
pound per inch of pressure in a champagne bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well,
Well,
does
my
it matter
husband-
if it's what method?
Exactly. My husband tries to shoot them over to the neighbors when we open them outside. And our neighbor knows that this is happening, but after the snow had melted, there's a few corks sitting in the yard.
Oops.
He thinks it's hilarious. It's his little game.
That's a good game.
If you're sharing the wine.
Yeah,
right?
I'd want, yeah, I need a cut
Yeah.
if my yard is in the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tax.
Pop over a bottle every now and then, and
Yep.
it'd be good.
Absolutely.
I have
Absolutely.
a squirrel who does that with walnuts.
Oh.
Yeah, just
Cute.
plants them all around, and then ravens or crows come
Yeah.
and smash them on rocks and on everywhere on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a cottage industry of walnuts.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. Walnut trees abound.
Yes.
So this one
Okay.
is our stainless, and we were talking about Chardonnay, how it's a little bit different depending on the style. So this is really light bodied. You'll get a hint of sweetness to it. A little bit different between, this is the 21. The 20 and the 21 were quite different actually when we tried them side by side. We just rolled over to this vintage a few months ago now.
Do you think that's from aging or different season?
I just different fruit. Yeah, different fruit. Is that sometimes, I mean, people forget that wine is an agriculturally based industry, and that sometimes we don't have control over the intensity of the fruit that comes out, depending on how hot that growing season was. So I think the fruit might have been a little bit riper to get a little bit of that richer flavor profile. This one, I think that I do like the light body. I do like that it is a little citrus. Again, with the stone fruit, the peach, some apples or some green apple, or even a little bit of that, not Granny Smith, what's the yellow one called? Like a yellow delicious?
Yeah, I can't find that one.
And that's okay. You know when people get very stressed out because they can't find that one,
Yeah.
right? That one flavor, and they go, oh no, I don't taste that, I don't taste that. It's like, that's
I thought you were
okay.
saying this is okay. I'm like, wow, you have high standards because this is awesome.
It's lovely. Yeah, it's lovely. But see, I like oak. I like some oak, right? So somebody who does not like oak, doesn't like a richer, buttery Chardonnay would like this because it's fruit. It's just all fruit, right?
Yeah. Wow. It's very juicy for a white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very juicy.
I would say if I'm starting somebody on a wine journey, I would start here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna like this. Like if you like light grape juice, like a white grape juice, or like a melony kind of flavor.
Yeah.
This is very much like that, but still it has a really amazing mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not as light as the scent would have you feel. It's like a medium body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this might be a little bit warm. I would drink my Chardonnay ever so slightly warmer than fridge temperature. So if we have all of the wines that are sitting at the same temperature, whenever I go to a restaurant or if we're tasting wine in the tasting room, that always take the Chardonnays out a little bit, excuse me, a little bit earlier. But then it does warm in the glass too, and more of those characteristics come out.
This one you want cold though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Like not frozen.
But you know, like
It's gonna have a hard time freezing.
warm sparkling is just not
Oh no,
good.
no.
Not good.
That's like eating an overripe pear on a hot day. It's
Yeah,
just
no.
a very depressing, sticky event.
Yes, yeah, not a thing.
No.
But with Chardonnay, it can get a little bit warmer. So if you were in a restaurant or at home and you want to take it out of the fridge and either put it in a chiller on the counter or just leave it out, straight out, then those flavors will develop in the glasses as you go.
Very
So
nice.
It's kind of fun too. This one I would really enjoy in the summertime, but with food because it has a little bit more of that weight to it. So all of those fruity characteristics. If you were having one of those nice summer salads that had like some grilled prawns or scallops or something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be
Papaya,
amazing.
strawberries, goat cheese, I don't know, something like that combo would be perfect with this. Big fan.
Oh, that would be nice. And what are you serving this with?
Well, I mean, really, bubble goes with anything.
Yes.
But
When
in my
in doubt,
world, in my
bubbles
world.
or Chardonnay.
I know, Chardonnay with everything. You know what? Sparkling is an interesting one because A lot of people will begin a meal with it, or they'll begin entertaining with a glass of sparkling. I really like sparkling wine with cheese. So I would do something that has a little bit of salt, something that's a little bit creamy, maybe with some sort of like fig jam, something crispy to go along with it, like maybe something that you build out that has several different flavors, and then the bubbles will help to just clean up that palate. Each bite will be new, right? So I think that, I mean, bubble is so diverse too. I think that traditionally people think it has to be with like salty caviar, right? Or some of those things. And if you think about, like, traditionally, if you're going to drink champagne with caviar, you would have like the little, I don't know, potato or what have you, and you would have some creme fraiche, and you would have like an onion, and you'd have the caviar. So you really have like several different layers of flavor, and then that bubble on the glass is really just going to clean it up and complement and just get you ready for the next bite.
So each bite is like the first.
Yeah, that's what I like. But I never thought about that about caviar actually until I started to do more food pairing. I don't love caviar, but it's very salty.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're going for the salty element.
Yeah.
So if you pull apart like a classic pairing, a champagne or a sparkling wine with caviar. So what's in that? So salt for sure.
Yep.
And then there's a texture.
Yep.
So I think it's cute how texture of caviar mimics bubbles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really cute. I wonder if you could do something like with a foam.
Oh yes.
Like some kind of really cool, it's like chickpea vegan foam or something.
Yeah.
Like that over top of something that would be salty, but also have like a bit of a bounce when you bite it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can take the elements and then apply it to what you have or what you like. Like I'm not nuts about prosciutto. I think the texture just
I don't like the fatty
freaks me
edges.
out.
I don't like
the
it.
fatty edges.
No.
I don't like the slidiness.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm the same. Yeah.
It's like, oh, the texture is so wrong about this. But if it's crisped.
Yeah, cooked.
Yeah.
Or cooked more. Yeah,
if
I
you
agree.
Crisp it, it's on a salad or something. With this, I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's got that salty, that sort of the fattiness, but if it was crispy, to me it feels like it would be a happier combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I really, and that's to that salt too, right? Because prosciutto is quite salty.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorite pairings with any kind of bubbles, whether it's champagne, prosecco, everything in between, is just potato chips.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you get that crisp, you get that salt, coats the mouth with that fat, and then you just wash it right away with that bubble, and then just prepares you for the next bite. But it's just
almost
the nicest
any wine
bubble.
and potato chips is
Yeah,
really
true.
good.
This is true.
and same with French fries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's everybody can relate to this.
Yeah, it doesn't have
You
to
know
be
you've
fancy,
done
right?
it.
Like we talked about caviar, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be something that's really upscale. It can be sort of whatever you have in your pantry that you just whip together, or ordering a side of fries.
Yeah, ordering a side of fries, hanging out at the food court, going home, taking your fries with you.
No,
you can't
you bring it
have
in a
this-
brown paper bag.
Oh yeah, and drink it right out of the bag because we're classy that way.
In the food court.
Nobody will mind. No one will know. Renee's side.
They're zoned for alcohol, right? No? Oh, I thought.
BYOB.
My bad. My bad.
Okay, don't bring your own bottle to the food court. This is bad advice.
Oh, we kid.
I think people come to this channel for some bad advice. So we're giving them good advice also today. Okay, now this time you're going to be opening a traditionally corked bottle with a corkscrew. So there's some technique here. And I was on an anniversary trip with my husband one year, and we bought a bottle of something. It had a cork, but we did not have a corkscrew. So we tried all sorts of ways to get the cork out.
shoe and whatnot? There's a shoe one.
It's a shoe one. I tried a coat hanger.
Okay.
Yeah, like the wire coat hanger. I undid
jamming
it
it
and
down?
tried to use the wire as a
Oh.
worm.
Yeah.
And it worked kind of, but then the cork was dry.
Yeah.
And the cork split, and the cork partly fell in there. So we were straining it through a coffee filter.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It was a really classy experience. I could have just asked the desk if they have a corkscrew.
That wasn't as fun.
No,
Not
well,
as fun.
It's fun to find your own way through the desert.
But was the wine good?
Well, it tasted a little papery.
There's bits of cork in it, but you know.
Rob's like, is this what corked means? Like, no, but it could.
Bits.
It's a different way of being corked.
It's an addition.
Yes.
So I took the foil off already. I did that with the little knife on the corkscrew. If I can open that up again. Now a lot of people will take the foil off this top, but really you're supposed to be taking it off down here.
Well,
you don't want to
can,
slice it and take the whole thing off.
You can use this as a guide too.
Yes.
The lip, the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just push in, turn your bottle, turn it all the way around. Make sure that you're pushing hard enough so that that knife is getting through the foil. And then when you're finished, you can give it a little tear and then pull that foil right off.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm a foil mangler.
Oh, I'm at home, not on camera. At home, rip it.
I've gone straight through the foil at home. Yeah. So straight through it, you just take your swoosh the worm of your opener, put it through the foil, crank it in, and the foil goes rah, like that. It's very barbaric, but it does work.
It does the trick. You know, I don't know whether people would like it if we did that in the restaurant, but
no, they would not.
They would probably identify with it.
They want a little bit of ceremony.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's make sure that she can see this.
Okay.
Hey, Renee, got a good
So we're just going to wind this up.
So she started the little point roughly in the middle. And sometimes it looks like it's gone off course, but it hasn't. It's fine.
It's okay. I'm going to take the top part of the corkscrew and I'm just going to pull it sort of halfway out, like so. And then I'm going to use the bottom and pull it out all the way. When I get here, I'm going to twist it out. You also don't want to pop of the cork. Pull the whole thing out and pop it. So you shouldn't be making any sound when you're opening these wines. It should be quite
not even
quiet. Should be a little fancier when it's quiet and not a lot of grunting involved, right?
Try and do all your grunting in your head.
Right. And then traditionally people like the cork placed in front of them because they like to see if it was stored properly. This is a white wine that was stored upright in a fridge, so they're not going to get a lot of off of that. If they're red wines and they were racked, then maybe it shows that the cork is not dry. It shows that the cork has a little bit of color on it because it was stored laying down and racking. So,
right. And then when people are smelling their cork, is that a thing?
I don't
thing
think
or no
so.
thing?
I say no thing.
No thing. I agree. But I think it's funny.
Well, if it was laying down and it was absorbing some of the wine, then maybe it does have a nice scent to it. This one probably shouldn't because it would be put into a case and barely laying down.
Residual smell, probably just because walking from the bar to here, it gets splashed up on.
Yeah, and this is a 2020 as well, so it's been in the bottle for a little while. As I say, this is my absolute favorite in our portfolio. It is, again, a Chardonnay, but let's compare the colors of the liquid in the glass.
Okay. Here, Renee, I'm gonna, let's see, I'll put
some white.
Something white behind it. What do you think? She's trying to focus on it. Cannot? Oh, you're getting splash off of that? What if I do it with black? Is there enough light shining through it?
What about here?
Oh, maybe. No, still black worked better? Okay. It's the beauty of live TV. You just keep figuring it out.
So this one should be, because this comes from oak barrels, this should be darker in color. It's picked up a little bit of the color of the barrel, whereas the Corona Chardonnay doesn't have that opportunity.
So this one's gold.
It is.
And this one is light gold.
Light straw.
Light straw.
So this guy, gosh, it has just so much going on in this glass. All these aromatics. You get a little bit of that barrel, you got a few of those bread notes, but different. It's a little bit more rich than those light brioche notes that we saw in the sparkling wine. Creamy. You get vanilla, maybe some baked apple. It's dry, Sometimes you think of baked apple that maybe you'd have a sweetness to it, but really no, it just finishes nice and dry. I get a bit of buttered popcorn. This would be delicious paired with buttered popcorn.
It would.
In my world, you can pair this with everything though. But Chardonnay that has a little bit of weight on it, it is oaked, nicely oaked.
Wow.
Has that toast on it. You can pair it with a heavier protein because it has the weight that it can hold up. Now, a lot of people think that the only thing that you can pair with, say, a steak is Big Reds. Not the case. Not in my world. I always think that often with sides, if you're going to have a steak, you're often having vegetables, you're having potatoes, you're having a salad, you're having something light. So then you create that whole sort of like triangle of balance with the wine and the lighter sides, and then the protein.
Do you like pairing when it's kind of an echo of the wine taste, or do you like it when it's
I like
the
contrast.
opposite?
Yeah,
the contrast?
I like the contrast. Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean, because I think about what I normally would pair with, and I love to have a Riesling. I like to have a Riesling on hand because if we're making any sort of like stir fry, Thai dish, anything has a little bit of heat to it, a little bit of spice to it. What else do we normally have on hand? I mean, it depends. I think that with the sparkling wine and you're having like a light summer salad or with that Chardonnay, that's not really going to compete with what would be on your plate, right?
Yeah.
But that salt is a big thing. Salt and fat are the big things for me, right? So cheese.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why
all of
cheese
it.
and wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of it.
And the same with potato chips and wine, salt and fat. It's the golden ticket.
Have you ever had cheesies? You know those Hawkins cheesies, like
Hawkins
the little
cheesies are the best.
with every wine.
Yeah.
So good.
You cannot go wrong with a Hawkins cheesy.
So good pairing.
Yeah, and they have really, really good policies for their workers in their factory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I fully
It's a
support
family business, I
Hawkins.
think, isn't it?
Yeah. The beauty of live. And then I choked myself on nothing.
The earlier. Oh my gosh.
So does chef have something for us?
He does have some stuff for us.
So we're going to be trying something.
Let's see if I can catch his eye, or I can just go and get it. I think I need to go and get it because Anna didn't come down.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
He looks very busy.
He is very busy. It's Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
So many people.
He's
It's like
prepping and prepping.
full. Yeah.
All right, I'll sit here and talk about the wine. Oh, hey.
Okay.
A question that I
How do
would
I
get
pull it?
asked a lot is why
Oh,
are you
thank you.
swirling it?
Amazing,
And
amazing.
if you really want to know about
This looks really pretty.
Before you even
I
before
don't
you
love to
swirl it,
sip
when you
wine
get
at 9
some
o'clock in the morning.
Wine in your glass. Give it a sniff and see what it smells like, and then take a second
Yeah.
and swirl it.
Not at work.
The
Not at the beginning of my
safest
work
way to do it is on the tabletop. You can, in your hand, give it a swirl, but it's kind of unstable because think of it like it's almost like a gyroscope when you've got it in your hand. A lot of different ways it can go wrong. But if it's
We're
down on
busy
the table,
tonight. That's crazy how
and
many
you're
people
just
go out for Valentine's Day.
twirling it like that, you can even think of like if this was a pencil and you're
Yeah.
starting to make, here's my other pencil. You're just starting to draw little tiny circles. Little tiny circles, and you see the wine start moving in the little tiny circles, and then you make them just a bit bigger until you've got the wine really moving in that glass. So little tiny circles. See, it's already, we've got this kind of a vortex going. Right? And so what that is doing is pushing some air into the wine. It's going to open it up. So the next time you smell it, like especially if you've smelled it before you swirl it, and then you smell it again, it's like a different wine. Now you had like 1 or 2 notes before, now it's got 8. So that's the difference that this makes. Plus, as far as aeration, you notice that almost every wine glass is kind of built. You fill it to the bulge, and then it's smaller again at the top. So what it's doing is catching
beautiful,
all the
thank you.
aroma right in this
You're like,
bowl.
oh, no, it moved.
So when you're putting your nose in it, and you can't take a sip without putting your nose in it. So, because that's how our
Perfect.
faces are, right?
Thank
So
you.
Now you're smelling it and tasting it at the same time, which is really exciting. And it's something that you do every day. You smell and you taste your food. But when you're doing it on purpose and really mindfully, it's a different experience. So after you've swirled this, you have a whole lot more surface area that is just really breathing into this bowl of the wine glass. And so when you're smelling it the second time, there's a whole lot more going on. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
And people are coming here for Valentine's Day are going to get this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
How nice. Okay, tell us what we've got here.
So one of the special things about Orolo, the restaurant that we are in, is that we have, we do dry aging of our beef. So our beef was actually raised in Summerland, so very, very local.
Local.
Very local. And then we dry age on site. So the dry aging adds just extra richness, texture, really helps to capture all of those flavors. And then chef has put some butter on top with a little bit of herbs. We also had, remember I had to write this down because I couldn't remember what it's called.
Oh yes.
The tarfalette.
Oh, there
Tarfalette, which is potatoes, essentially potatoes with bacon and cheese. Delicious, delicious mushrooms, and then some seasonal vegetables. So if you were going to be ordering dinner, you'd probably order your steak and a couple of sides to share. A couple other things that we feature here in the restaurant is we've been doing fondue, which is kind of fun. Yeah. So Thursdays, Sundays, I believe. And then we do happy hour. So Wednesdays is half price off wine. So seeing that it's Wednesday and Valentine's Day, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a bit of a rockin' day.
Yeah, I think so. You'd have to batten down. What time do you open?
Noon.
Oh,
But
okay. Well, we'll have time to get out of here before
lots
you
of
open.
time.
Oh,
There's
sure.
a few lunches but mostly dinners. Like the books have been full for dinner,
Oh, fantastic.
which is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, well, it's such a beautiful space. And what people can't see, and hopefully we'll grab a little bit of B-roll for this, is like how high it goes. And they've got all these really cool ring lights up there.
Which is a theme.
Yeah.
The circular theme is something that we
Absolutely.
continue through all of our logos, the lighting, the decor. It sort of represents that continuum of time. Is our family, our parent company.
Very nice.
So yeah, help yourself.
All right.
Go for it. So what I'm going to open to sort of pair with this too, even though I firmly believe that Chardonnay can go with this as well, is I'm going to open up the Kronos Cabernet Franc.
Okay, here we'll get
Did
to
not remove the
watch
foil,
you.
so no pressure.
Watch how good she is at foils.
Oh gosh.
She's a mangler like me, or
Well, so far I don't want to jinx myself. You know.
I lost marks on the SOM exam for my my mangling.
It's hard. It's a little tiny knife.
Yeah, see? This isn't easy.
It's as I pull it off and mangle it, yeah. Well, I'm not a SOM and I don't work in a restaurant, so I'm giving myself the
There we go.
I'm giving myself the out. That wasn't terrible. That was not terrible.
That was pretty good.
I sell the wine.
Yeah, selling it is
Market the wine.
important.
There we go.
Okay.
So the Cabernet Franc in the Kronos lineup is their most accoladed, most decorated wine. Has the highest points, 94 points, I believe is what it has scored from a few different people. This to me is very luxurious, very, I don't know, it's a sexy little wine. It's got a lot going on. It's very pretty. With red wines, a lot of the time you'd want a little bit of a higher tannin if you're going to be pairing it with a heavier protein. So a lot of people would do a Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm more of a Cab Franc fan. You still, especially because we have a few things going on outside of just the meat, we have those vegetables and we have some of the heavier cream and cheese that would be with the potatoes and the bacon, and then same with the mushrooms, which I'm very sure are cooked in all sorts of butter. Then you want a little bit of that tannin to cut through all of that, but then not to overpower, because some of those flavors are a little lighter.
Wow. How old is she?
These are 20s. So any of our reds right now are 20s.
Oh, wow.
20s are drinking really beautifully as well right now. I think on the shelf, Most of the reds that you see from the valley are 20s, 21s, especially Merlot, Cab Franc. There's not as many other Cabernet Franc out there, so not as many people are as familiar with it. And I do notice too that there's not as many single varietal Cabernet Sauvignon. So people,
That's true.
you know, just over the last little while, like sourcing fruit or just consumer preference. What I love is that you get that plum, you get white pepper, you get lots and lots of fruit, violets, cherries.
It's almost like there's a tiny bit of Petit Verdot in here. Is there?
Probably.
Just like that kind of an inkiness to it as well. And the big violet.
I think too that Cab Franc has a level of sophistication. Like those tannins are easy, right? Like they're there.
They're noticeable, but they're gentle.
Yeah, gentle. So like I say, when you're eating various different dishes, you could take a Cabernet Franc and you can pair it with the entire meal as opposed to having to change what you're drinking with each dish, right? Which is my preference in how to eat. I like to have a couple different bottles on the table, but not have to have something for the meat and something for this and something for this and something for this, because it doesn't have to be like that. And if you want to get into a nicer bottle, then I would prefer that somebody drink one nicer bottle as opposed to having 3 entry level or not as high quality wines.
Right.
Right? Because your experience is just going to be so much more enriched by having that one bottle.
And since we're being told, you know, don't drink so much, it's not that great for you, saving up your tickets for a good one, I think is worth it.
Absolutely. And right now, I mean, more than ever, it's so important to support BC wine. I mean, there's a lot in the media about what's happening with our growing season, with harvest and whatnot. You hear the complaint that BC wine is expensive, BC VQA is expensive, and maybe for some people it is. There's certain wines, but they're all different price levels. You know, it is, I'm going to get the number wrong, I'm sure, but about a $3.8 billion industry, I want to say, in BC. And if we don't support by purchasing and supporting this huge industry in our province, then it will go away. So that to me is, you know, there is a time and place for import wines, and there's a time and place for bottled in Canada wines, blends. But truly, if you are going to be a little bit health conscious and thinking about where you're putting your dollars and how you're supporting your province and industry, is get a nicer bottle, drink less, savor it. Right?
And this is unique in the world. The flavor profiles and the textures that we get in the Okanagan are not the same as everywhere else. And they are in some ways much better. Like it's such a unique, in our little pocket right here, such a unique combination of high daytime temperatures, cool nights, so you can get that big round fruit and still have some snap to it. It's like a genius magical place to grow wine.
Absolutely. And it's funny because when you look at how many growing regions that there are in the world, if you look at like Wine Folly or something like that, like and they have the wheel that shows like the percentage of grapes grown. Canada doesn't even rank.
We're not on the wheel.
We're not even on the wheel. And we think that it's such a huge industry because it is for us, it's what we produce in the grand scheme of things is so small. We don't even rank, right?
That is so true. And Wine Folly is an amazing resource. They published a book and there's a website. So if you're curious about that, look up Wine Folly and just everything you'd ever want to know. There was a whole bunch of us at the Court of Master Sommeliers exam with the Wine Folly book with us because it's got it all.
Oh, it's the best. The best.
And it's laid out for visual learners too. So it's lots of color, like what are the colors called, what do they look like, what does it go with, where is it from, how's it made, and it's all very graphs and beautiful. The book is beautiful, the website is beautiful. Can't say enough about it.
Yeah, they do a great job. They do a really great job.
Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about this?
I know, what are we going to do about this? Let's serve ourselves a little bit. I didn't bring a serving spoon, obviously, so let's just use a fork and just grab up a little bit. So dig in, grab yourself a little bit of the potatoes.
Okay.
And, oh, it's crispy on the top.
Oh, wow.
What did I call it again?
I have no idea.
Tartfilette.
Hello, Dr. Lent.
It's hard to say. It's hard to remember.
Oh my goodness.
It's our first day eating.
I don't know how to do this.
Oh, it's got like onions. Look at that. It's got all this cheese. Delicious. And then grab a piece of meat.
Hello, meat boy. A little bit of herbed butter.
Oh yeah. I mean, whoever came up with putting butter on steak just they knew what they were talking about.
It sounds so circle of life-ish.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we'll take out a milk.
Mushrooms, and there's vegetables. Who really needs vegetables anyways, right? And then
Oh, there's so many different kinds of mushrooms in here. We've got a medley.
there is. I love mushrooms.
I like mushrooms with Pinot Noir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
Got
just
that
feel like
earthy
it's,
quality to it.
yeah, and kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
Like a mushroom can be melancholy. Like they look like little umbrellas
I love it.
for the rain.
So typically what I do if I'm going to be pairing is I take a little sip, which we had done, to see what the wine tastes on its own. And then you would, if you want to complement the wine, then you would take a bite of that food,
Very
get
nice.
it going in your mouth, and then try the wine again. Oh yeah, that steak.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at this.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I get different flavors, more fruit coming at me. The tannin supports it just a little bit. Doesn't linger on my palate for too long. I still get the flavors of the food with the wine.
Wow.
I like.
That really changes it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's the saltiness that brings up the fruit?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, I really do like to pair salty with wine.
I'm just curious about your Chardonnay pairing with the
Oh, go
steak.
for it. Yeah.
I think the butter will really pull it over to the Chardonnay world.
You can't put them in competition with each other.
Mm-hmm. Head to head. Renee, can you find some competition music for the edit? Da 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 da.
See, it really does hold up. And then you get that oak.
That's a completely different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know which one. This one I'm used to,
Mm-hmm.
but this one is kind of a revelation.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're gorgeous.
I love, and we've tasted, I mean, Chardonnay is a staple in my house. I don't always have it on hand. You know, I don't always have really lovely bottles on hand. It's kind of dangerous to have because then I could
Yeah.
open them on like a Tuesday or something. But if I'm eating, I'm definitely having,
Chardonnay.
yeah, yeah. Bubble as well. We actually, with our wine club, Anna, whom you met earlier, so she's in charge of our wine club, and we've developed a few different extra layers of the wine club.
Okay.
So so we have our curated that you choose 12 bottles, you can choose from wherever you like. And then our legacy, traditionally it's been called as 6 bottles, but we would choose for you. So you would decide, or we choose a curated for you, you can change it around. So we would say, okay, here's a white and red, here's what we're sending. And that's common for a lot of wine clubs. So what we decided to do is give people a little bit more choice. So now we have a Kronos Red Club, a Kronos White Club,
Oh, nice.
Sparkling Club, etc. But for the first time, we're doing a purely sparkling club with Evolve.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, yeah, really fun.
Do you have people who do several different clubs?
Yeah, there is a few. I mean, ideally, what we want to happen, we add bundles on top. Like we have a vertical 2017, 18, and 20 of the McWater's Collection Meritage. So we've bundled that up, excuse me. And then a trio of sparkling wine. We try to add, like, make it really, really easy. So someone gets their package and then, oh, maybe I'll do that bundle. I'll do that bundle on top.
Oh, nice.
So people tend to do that sort of thing too. They'll go on, then they'll shop a couple other bottles or a couple little bundles and that sort of thing.
I love wine clubs. Can I join online, or do I have to be here?
You absolutely can.
Oh,
No,
okay.
you can join online. We're redoing our website right now, which I'm really excited about. I'm a little bit behind on it. I would like it to be done for the wine club. But we've invested a lot of time and energy into photography, really great photography.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
If I can see it, I'm interested.
Me too, me too.
Yeah.
Our website right now doesn't have that, so it's a lot of information on the website right now. But you can
Yes.
go in, learn about the wine club, learn about the wines, like all of the details about the space and all of the things that we do.
Oh, that's amazing. Because you have so many different experiences here that a person can have as well.
Yeah.
Oh, before we leave, can you tell us about the sabering? Because
Absolutely,
I get
yeah.
asked so many times,
Yeah.
where can we go to learn to saber?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So sabering is a fun one. So because we do have so much sparkling wine at our disposal, we have a sabering experience. So we have 2 extra experiences for tastings. So you can go into the Kronos tasting room and you can taste. We have a barrel thief tasting that you can do, where you go in and someone will show you, will pull some wine straight from a barrel and you can taste that.
That's
do a
a
little
lot
bit
of
of a
fun.
tour in the back. It is fun because people don't realize that that's a thing, right? They don't put the connection that is coming out of the barrel before it goes into the glass.
Right. Or
It's
that
neat
you
for them
could
to actually
get
see.
a little bit out and see what it tastes
Absolutely.
like.
Yep, absolutely. So we do that, but my favorite is the sabering experience. So we take you in the back, into the barrel room, barrel cellar. We put on some safety goggles.
Oh, good.
Yep, we aim far away from people. So the trick to sabering is really you need to have the neck down of your sparkling wine for a few minutes, 20 minutes or something like that. So you just take that whole bottle and you would just put it down into a bucket of ice.
So upside down?
Upside down.
Okay.
Yep. And then we have a couple different sabers, and on the count of 3, 1, 2, and it's really like the follow through if you're playing golf or tennis.
Okay.
It's like really follow through, and that saber slides all the way down the neck, and it hits this little lip, and it chops it right off, nice and clean.
Beautiful.
So it's something that everybody has to do, and you can do it at home.
Yeah.
I don't recommend doing it indoors, like in a kitchen. I would do it outside. I mean, we have a lot of space back there, so we're okay. But and then of course aiming away from people and protecting your eyes. But it's fun, and because the glass doesn't splinter, you don't have glass in the bottle. It's like comes
still
off
a
nice and clean.
drinkable bubble.
Yeah, with the glass attached to the cork. So,
Very nice.
yeah, it's
the
fun.
glass is attached to the cork.
yeah, the
Oh,
neck
that's
of
fun.
will still be, and then we
Oh.
put it in a little box for you to take home.
That's really cute. What a nice experience.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
All right, before we go, is there anything you wish I'd ask you about?
Oh, I don't know. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, we have as I say, we have like the Evolve Cellars opening this year up the hill, which is 3 minutes away from this space. So there'll be sort of lots of back and forth. Wine Club to support both of them. We've gotten into doing a lot more wine club events, so tastings. We have something coming up on the 24th, which will be a try before you buy event, because we do have several like wine club exclusive, like this one.
Right. It's beautiful.
It's only my second time tasting this too.
It's really
We
good.
don't open it all the time. I know.
Wow, I feel
It's
special.
beautiful. It's
This
fun.
is great.
And then, we're just hoping that we get a really good season. It was really hard last year with having the province shut down, having travel shut down for such a short time.
Do the fires.
Yeah. And that really halted our tourist season, because of course we do appeal to locals, and being downtown is very handy for us, because if people aren't coming for a tasting experience, they're just coming to a restaurant in town, which we do a great job of. But it'll be nice if Mother Nature can cooperate and allow us to show ourselves off to everybody that's coming to visit the Okanagan. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a beautiful place to visit, amazing place to live. All right. Okay. So there's a question that I do ask a lot of our guests. Sometimes I forget, but I'm remembering this morning. When you're all by yourself in your home with your glass of Chardonnay, what do you pair with it that other people might not want to? Or even just you don't have your glass of Chardonnay and you're making yourself a little snack, but no one likes it except for you. What is that
happens a
thing?
lot. I really like.
Everybody does this.
I know,
It's like
they laugh
so
because it sounds
shameful.
gross. I really like Chardonnay and sushi.
Oh, yeah.
This Chardonnay and sushi, not this
Okay.
one, not the fruity one.
Okay, but a oaky buttery,
Yeah.
but not overdone oaky buttery.
Yeah.
And sushi.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I feel like it can sort of counterbalance the fattiness of the fish.
Yeah.
And it's cold, traditionally room temperature,
Yeah.
right? So
It's
you're
gonna
kind of
be
like
really good.
matching that, but then a lot more of the fruit comes out in the glass.
Okay.
So
I think that's worth trying.
it is a weird sounding.
It sounds amazing, actually. We've had some real weird ones.
I can imagine, yes.
And that one sounds great. Okay, well, thank you so much for this morning. And
Thank you.
thank your chef and your team for all this. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.